I used to believe that love meant accepting someone completely flaws and all. For 2 years, I thought my girlfriend Jenna understood me. I am a software engineer, building my career one line of code at a time, and she always said she loved my dedication. We had talked about moving in together by fall, maybe even getting engaged. I had been looking at rings, imagining a future where we would grow old together. But at her family barbecue on a sunny Saturday afternoon, a cardboard sign taped to my back changed everything. What I thought was love revealed itself as something far more damaging. Before I dive into what happened that afternoon, I want to hear from you all. Where are you watching this from? Drop your location in the comments below. And if you have ever felt disrespected by someone who claimed to love you, hit that like button and subscribe so you do not miss what happened next. Because what started as a joke at a family barbecue turned into the moment I realized I had been settling for someone who never truly respected me. Let me take you back to that day. We met at a coffee shop in downtown Portland 2 years before that barbecue. Jenna was a marketing coordinator, bright and energetic, with a smile that could light up a room. I was immediately drawn to her confidence. Those first few months were sweet. We went on hiking trips through Forest Park, enjoyed lazy weekend brunches at our favorite cafe on Hawthorne, and spent countless nights cooking together in my apartment. Everything felt right. But looking back now, there were small signs I chose to ignore. Jenna would joke about my work in front of her friends, saying things like he is a nerd, always typing away on that computer. I would laugh along, thinking it was endearing, just her way of being playful. She would tease me about how I dressed too. "You dress like you are still in college," she would say, with a giggle tugging at my plain gray hoodie. Once she posted a photo of me asleep on the couch with the caption, "My lazy Sunday king." I felt a twinge of discomfort, but convinced myself she meant it lovingly. I told myself that was just how Jenna showed affection, that she did not mean any harm. When she invited me to her family barbecue, I was excited. This would be my third time meeting her family, and it felt like we were moving towards something more serious. I wanted to make a good impression. I bought an expensive bottle of wine as a gift, and carefully chose my outfit that morning, settling on a navy polo shirt and khaki pants. Nothing flashy, just presentable. Jenna looked at me that morning and said, "My family loves you, just be yourself." Those words filled me with warmth. I trusted her completely. Her parents lived in the suburbs, a beautiful house with a sprawling backyard, perfect for gatherings. When we arrived around noon, the smell of grilled meat filled the air and the sound of laughter echoed across the lawn. There were about 20 people there. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and close family friends. Her father, Harold, was a retired military man, with a stern face and firm handshake. Her mother, Patricia, seemed warm at first, but had a way of making comments that felt like subtle judgments. And then there was Derek, Jenna's older brother, a sales manager who loved talking about himself and his accomplishments. I greeted everyone politely and handed Harold the wine. He gave me a curt nod and said, "So you are the computer guy." I smiled and started to explain what I did for a living, but Derek cut me off. "Must be nice sitting in air conditioning all day," he said with a smirk. Everyone laughed. I laughed too, even though it felt uncomfortable. Jenna did not say anything to defend me. She just giggled and said, "Derek is just joking, Pierce. Do not be so serious." As the afternoon went on, I tried my best to fit in. I stood near the grill, listening to Derek tell stories about his sales victories and how real work meant talking to people face to face, not hiding behind a screen. Harold shared stories from his military days, talking about how men back then worked with their hands and built things. I nodded along, searching for common ground, but I felt more and more like an outsider. Nobody asked me about my work with genuine interest. Nobody seemed to care. Then in the middle of the afternoon, everything changed. I was standing near the picnic table holding a plate of food and chatting with one of Jenna's uncles when I heard Derek burst out laughing. He was pointing at me. "Hey everyone, check out Pierce," he shouted. I turned around confused and saw everyone staring at me. Some were covering their mouths, trying not to laugh. Others were grinning widely. One of Jenna's younger cousins ran up to me and pointed at my back. "Why does he need food?" the little girl asked innocently. I reached behind me and felt something taped to my shirt. I pulled it off and looked at it. A piece of cardboard with bold black letters that read, "Will work for food." My face went hot. The laughter grew louder. I looked around and saw Jenna standing a few feet away, grinning proudly. "Yeah, I did that," she announced to everyone. "I thought it would be funny." The crowd erupted in more laughter. Harold chuckled and shook his head. Patricia covered her smile with her hand. Derek slapped his knee. "That is hilarious, Jenna," he said. I stood there holding the sign, my heart pounding. I forced a smile and said, "Yeah, funny." But inside, something broke. Jenna walked over to me, still laughing. "Come on, babe, it is just a joke. You are so serious." She did not see the hurt in my eyes. She did not notice how my hands were shaking slightly. All she cared about was that her family found it entertaining. I tried to shake it off. I grabbed another beer and stood off to the side, pretending everything was fine. But I felt different. I noticed the way people looked at me now, like I was less than before. Derek kept making jabs. "At least you are honest about needing food, right?" Harold commented to someone nearby. "You youngsters and your office jobs." I just nodded quietly. Jenna continued to laugh and socialize, not once checking in to see if I was okay. Then one of Jenna's cousins, a woman named Amanda, walked over to me. She leaned in and whispered, "That was kind of mean." "Are you okay?" I was surprised that someone had noticed. I forced a smile and said, "I am fine, thanks." But her question planted a seed of doubt in my mind. Was I really fine? Or had I been pretending for too long? I looked across the yard and saw Jenna chatting with Derek, both of them laughing. She had not looked my way once since the sign incident. I felt invisible. I felt disrespected. And in that moment, I made a decision. I needed to leave. Not with anger or drama, but quietly. I walked over to Jenna and said softly, "I am not feeling well. I am going to head out. I will call you later." She barely looked at me. "Okay, babe, feel better," she said with a dismissive wave, already turning back to her conversation. I walked to my car, got in and drove away. As I sat at a red light a few blocks from her parents' house, I could still see that cardboard sign in my mind. And for the first time in 2 years, I started to see the truth. That night I sat alone in my apartment. The cardboard sign was still in my car, crumpled in the passenger seat. I could not stop thinking about it. This was not the first time Jenna had embarrassed me in front of others, but it was the first time she had done it in front of her entire family, and nobody had defended me, not even her. I opened my phone and scrolled through photos of us together. I started noticing a pattern I had ignored before. So many of the pictures Jenna posted of me were unflattering. Me sleeping with my mouth open, me eating messily, me looking exhausted after a long day at work. The captions were always mocking. "My hot mess. Look at this disaster." Meanwhile, every photo she posted of herself was perfect, carefully filtered and posed. I remembered how she would say to her friends, "Pierce is lucky to have me." At the time, I thought she was joking. Now I realized she meant it. She genuinely believed I was beneath her, like I was some kind of project she was working on. Around 10 at night, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Jenna. "Hey babe, my family thought that sign thing was hilarious. Derek cannot stop talking about it." There was a laughing emoji at the end. No apology. No asking if I was okay. Just excitement that her family had laughed at my expense. I stared at the message for a long time. Then, I set my phone down without replying. She sent more texts. "You asleep? Do not be mad, it was just a joke, lol." I did not read them. I just sat there staring at the wall, letting the reality sink in. Jenna and I did not live together yet, but so much of her stuff was scattered around my apartment. Clothes in my closet, makeup on my bathroom counter, shoes by the door. We had talked about her moving in officially by autumn. I had been excited about that. I had even been planning to propose within the next few months. There was a ring I had bookmarked on my laptop, a simple but elegant design I thought she would love. All those plans suddenly felt wrong. I made a decision that night. I was going to leave this relationship, but not with a dramatic confrontation, not with yelling or begging for an explanation. I was going to do exactly what Jenna had done to me, take action, without giving her the courtesy of understanding why. I opened my laptop and searched for moving companies in Portland. I found one that had availability the next morning, Sunday. I booked them immediately. I barely slept that night. By 5 in the morning, I was already awake, packing boxes. I did not pack everything in my apartment, just the things that mattered, and all of Jenna's belongings. Her clothes, her shoes, her toiletries, her books, everything she had left at my place over the past 2 years. I also gathered everything she had ever given me: a sweater, a coffee maker, decorative pillows for my couch. I was returning it all. At 7:30 in the morning, the moving truck arrived. 2 workers, Marcus and Leo, helped me load everything up. They worked quickly and efficiently, and by 8:15 we were on the road. I directed them to Jenna's apartment complex about 3 miles away. She lived alone in a small 1-bedroom unit. As we pulled up, I saw her car parked outside. She was home. I still had a key to her place. She had given it to me months ago for emergencies. I unlocked the building door and directed Marcus and Leo to start unloading boxes in the hallway outside her apartment door. We stacked everything neatly: her clothes, her shoes, her makeup, the gifts she had given me. The sound of the truck doors opening and closing echoed through the quiet Sunday morning. A few of her neighbors peeked out their doors, curious about the commotion. Then, her apartment door opened. Jenna stood there in her pajamas, hair, messy, eyes puffy from sleep. She looked at me then, at the moving truck, then at the pile of boxes and belongings stacked outside her door. "What the hell is going on?" she shouted. I stayed calm. "I am returning your things," I said simply. Why it is Sunday morning," she said, her voice rising. "I thought it would be convenient," I replied. Jenna stared at me like I had lost my mind. "Pierce, what are you doing? Is this about yesterday?" I took a breath and said, "It is about respect, Jenna, or the lack of it." Her face twisted in frustration. "It was just a joke. God, you are so sensitive." I shook my head. "A joke is funny for everyone. That was humiliation. But my family loved it," she shot back. "Yeah, I noticed," I said, "but nobody asked if I did." I pulled out the key to her apartment and held it out to her. "We are done. I hope you find someone who enjoys being your punchline." Jenna just stood there, frozen, like she could not process what was happening. "You are breaking up with me over a sign," she shouted. "No," I said quietly. "Over 2 years of not seeing who you really are." I turned and walked back to the moving truck. Behind me, I heard Jenna standing in her doorway, surrounded by boxes with neighbors watching from their windows. I did not look back. As Marcus drove the truck away, I felt something I had not felt in a long time. Relief. Freedom. It hurt, but it was the right kind of hurt. The first week after the breakup was strange. My phone was flooded with messages and calls from Jenna. At first she was angry. "You embarrassed me in front of my neighbors. How could you do that?" Then she tried guilt. "I cannot believe you threw away 2 years over nothing." Finally, she tried manipulation. "I was going to apologize, but you did not give me a chance." I did not respond to any of it. After 3 days, I sent one message: "I need space. Please respect that." Her reply came quickly: "Fine. You will regret this." I blocked her number. Some of our mutual friends reached out. Jenna had already told her version of the story, that I had overreacted to a harmless prank. A few people sided with her. "Dude, it was just a joke," one guy texted me. But my best friend Kyle was different. "I always thought she was kind of mean to you," he wrote. "You did the right thing. His girlfriend Sarah also reached out. She posted about you constantly without asking. That is not cool. I realized that the people who truly cared about me understood. I spent that first week cleaning my apartment, removing every trace of Jenna. I deleted our photos from social media. She had already unfriended and unfollowed me. I started going to the gym more often. I focused harder on a big project at work. At night, instead of scrolling through my phone, I read books. At first, the quiet felt empty, but slowly, it began to feel like peace. 2 weeks after the breakup, I started seeing a therapist. Her name was Dr. Angela Hartman, and it was my first time ever going to therapy. She helped me see patterns in my relationship with Jenna that I had normalized. The public humiliation disguised as jokes. The way she never apologized, always deflecting blame. How she made me feel lucky to be with her as if I should be grateful. How she dismissed my feelings by calling me too sensitive. Dr. Hartman called it emotional manipulation. I realized I had been betraying myself by laughing along, by pretending I was fine when I was not. Around the same time, something good happened at work. I finished a major project ahead of schedule. My boss, Greg, was impressed and offered me a team lead position. It came with a salary increase and more responsibility. I accepted. This was something I had been working toward for 2 years. Ironically, when I was with Jenna, I often doubted myself. Now, without her voice in my head, I could see my own value clearly. Kyle texted me one afternoon. "Dude, Jenna is posting cryptic quotes on Instagram." I did not want to know. "Do not tell me," I replied. "Fair enough," he wrote back. "How are you doing?" I paused before answering. "Honestly, better than I have in a long time." 1 month after leaving Jenna, my life had transformed. I joined a hiking group in Portland and met new people who had interesting conversations. Nobody judged me for being a software engineer. They were curious and respectful. I realized this was how normal people treated each other. I had also been thinking about adopting a dog, something Jenna always said was too much work. I visited an animal shelter and met a golden retriever named Cooper. He was 3 years old, sweet and gentle. I decided to adopt him. When I brought Cooper home, my apartment felt alive again. One Saturday, I was at the grocery store when I ran into Amanda, Jenna's cousin from the barbecue. "Pierce, how have you been?" she asked warmly. We chatted for a few minutes. "I heard you and Jenna broke up." "I am sorry," she said. "Actually, I am doing really well," I told her honestly. "Good for you," she said with a smile. "Honestly, at that barbecue, I felt bad for you. She should not have done that. Thank you for saying that." "It means a lot," I replied. She looked at me kindly. "You deserve someone who builds you up, not tears you down." Driving home, I thought about her words. I realized I did not need closure from Jenna. I did not need an apology. Walking away had been my closure. Refusing to tolerate disrespect had been my power. For the first time in 2 years, I felt proud of myself. I had put myself first, but Jenna was not done yet. One evening, about 6 weeks after the breakup, I came home from work and saw her car parked outside my building. She got out as I approached. "Pierce, we need to talk," she said. I shook my head. "There is nothing to say, Jenna." "I am sorry, okay?" "I did not realize it hurt you that much," she said. I looked at her carefully. "You are sorry I got hurt, not sorry for what you did. There is a difference." "That is not fair," I said. "I am sorry," she protested. "You had 2 years to treat me with respect. You chose not to. One apology does not erase that." Jenna started to cry. "I miss you." "Do not. You miss me." I paused, then answered honestly. "I miss the person I hoped you were, but not who you actually are." Her face hardened. "That is cruel," she said. "No," I replied. "Cruel is humiliating someone and calling it love." I walked toward the building entrance. She called after me. "You are going to end up alone." I stopped and turned. I would rather be alone than disrespected. Then I went inside without looking back. From my apartment window, I watched her drive away. Cooper ran over to me, tail wagging. I petted his head. "Just you and me, buddy," I said softly. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Kyle. "Drinks Friday," I smiled and typed back. "Absolutely." I felt complete peace. No more anger, no more resentment, just gratitude that I had been strong enough to walk away. 3 months after that barbecue, I was thriving. At work, my new role as team lead was going incredibly well. My team respected me and appreciated my leadership style. One of the junior developers, Tyler, told me, "You actually listen to us." That is rare. I realized that the qualities Jenna had mocked, my sensitivity and thoughtfulness, were actually strengths. I built a team culture based on respect and collaboration. The company noticed. They promoted me again, this time to senior engineering manager. In 3 months without Jenna, I had grown further in my career than I had in the 2 years with her. My personal life was blossoming too. The hiking group became a real friend circle. We took weekend trips to Mount Hood and the Columbia River Gorge. Cooper came along and became the group's unofficial mascot. I learned photography from one of the members, a guy named Brian. My life was full of new experiences. I also started volunteering at the animal shelter where I had adopted Cooper. I met so many people who shared my passion for helping animals. I was not rushing into a new relationship. I was just living. Therapy with Dr. Hartman continued to help me process and heal. I started keeping a journal to track my growth. One recent entry read, "I finally understand leaving was not giving up. It was choosing myself." Kyle sent me a text one afternoon. "Okay, I know you said you do not want updates, but this is interesting." What I replied: "Jenna is dating Derek, her brother's friend." I waited for a reaction. Jealousy, anger, something. But I felt nothing. "Good for them," I typed. "That is it, you are really over her," Kyle wrote. "Yeah," I replied. "She did me a favor with that sign. Showed me who she really was." I thought about that barbecue moment often. The sign that read, "Will work for food." The irony was not lost on me. Jenna thought she was making fun of me. But really, she had exposed herself as someone who found humor in tearing others down. That sign had given me freedom. I was not angry at her anymore. I just felt sad for her. People who need to humiliate others are usually deeply insecure. I hoped she would grow, but that was not my responsibility anymore. 6 months after leaving Jenna, I was looking at houses. I was ready to become a first-time homebuyer. Cooper had already picked out his favorite corner in every house we toured. At work, my team delivered the best quarterly results in the department's history. Greg offered me an opportunity to move to the Seattle office and lead a new division. I was considering it seriously. A fresh start sounded appealing. My hiking friends joked about throwing me a going-away party if I decided to move. Around that time, I met someone new. At the animal shelter, there was a veterinarian named Dr. Emily Santos. We talked about dogs, animal conservation, and environmental issues. She was smart, kind, and respectful. At the end of one shift, she asked, "Would you want to grab coffee sometime?" I smiled. I would like that. But I was not rushing anything. I had learned that it was better to be whole on my own before sharing my life with someone. Emily seemed to understand that pace too. It felt different, healthy different. One evening, I sat on my balcony with Cooper lying beside me. I thought about the journey from that barbecue to now. I had learned so much. Respect is non-negotiable. Love does not mean tolerating disrespect. Actions reveal character. Jenna's behavior at the barbecue was not a mistake. It was who she was. Walking away is strength, not weakness. Leaving is not quitting. It is choosing self-worth. Your response matters. I did not create drama. I quietly exited with dignity. Healing takes time. There are no quick fixes, but Every day gets a little better. You teach people how to treat you. When I accepted mockery, Jenna learned she could continue. And sometimes the trash takes itself out. That sign showed me the truth. I did not regret the 2 years I spent with Jenna. Those years taught me what I would never accept again, and that lesson was priceless. I looked out at the Portland skyline as the sun set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Cooper rested his head on my lap. My phone buzzed. A text from Emily. "Still on for coffee Saturday." I smiled and typed back. "Definitely." I thought to myself, I will work for food. But I will never work for crumbs of respect. Not ever again. So let me ask you this. Have you ever stayed in a relationship longer than you should have because you were afraid of starting over? Have you ever laughed off disrespect because confronting it felt too hard? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear your stories. And if this resonated with you, smash that like button and subscribe for more real-life stories about standing up for yourself. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it reminds you that you deserve respect always. Take care of yourselves out there, and remember, choosing yourself is never selfish. It is survival.